What if tonight, instead of falling asleep to noise, you fell into silence, the kind that speaks louder than thought? What if, for once, the voice guiding you inward wasn't asking you to become more, but inviting you to return to what's already true? You don't need to strive here. You don't need to heal anything. You don't need to fix your mind or adjust your soul. You just need to listen, not with your ears, with something deeper. Because you didn't come here to be taught. You came here to remember. The truth is quiet, and so is wisdom. It's why you've never heard it shouting. As you close your eyes, let these ancient whispers melt into you. Let them carry you inward, softly, like leaves drifting across still water. Let go. Just those two words hold lifetimes of freedom. Let go of the idea that peace must be earned. It's already here. It always was. Let go of needing to know. Even the stars don't ask where they're going. Let go of needing to be understood. Not everyone is meant to witness your becoming. Let go of the outcome. You are not responsible for how the fruit falls from the tree. You are only the tree, rooted, giving, and still. Let go of identities that shrink you. You are not your job, not your name, not the roles you perform in daylight. Let go of time. There is no clock ticking in the heart of the universe, only presence. Let go of the belief that healing must be loud. Sometimes the deepest healings feel like nothing at all. Just space. Just peace. Let go of needing to always be strong. Even mountains erode and no one blames them. Let go of needing to always be soft. Even the ocean roars when it must. Let go of being the fixer. You are not here to rescue anyone from their own becoming. Let go of guilt. You are allowed to outgrow what once kept you safe. Let go of the fear that if you release it all, there will be nothing left. You'll see, what remains is everything, real. Let go of the fear of being forgotten. Real truth is never lost, and neither are you. Let go of the question, am I doing enough? You are not a machine. You are a soul. Let go of revenge. Let life teach them what you never could. Let go of urgency. Even the sun takes its time to rise. Let go of the belief that surrender is weakness. Surrender is the decision to trust something deeper than control. Let go of what didn't happen. It wasn't meant to anchor you. It was meant to free you. Let go of perfection. Even the moon shows up every night with pieces missing, and still it shines. Let go of the ending you wanted. The story continues, just not the way you imagined. Let go of the people who walked away. Some souls are only meant to touch your life like wind felt, but never held. Let go of pretending you're okay when you're not. The soul doesn't need performance, it needs truth. Let go of bitterness. Carrying the blade only keeps the wound open. Let go of the life you thought you should have had. You didn't come here to follow a script, you came here to awaken. Let go of the voice that says you're behind. There is no race in eternity. Let go of fear disguised as responsibility. Not everything that demands your energy deserves it. Let go of controlling your image. You are not a brand. You are breath. Let go of comparing your path. Even stars are born at different times. Let go of always needing closure. Some things end without punctuation, and that's still peace. Let go of the idea that being tired means you've failed. Fatigue is a sacred call to rest. Let go of trying to keep everyone comfortable. Their comfort is not your calling. Let go of trying to prove your worth. The sky doesn't explain why it's beautiful. Let go of pushing. What is meant for you will find you in stillness. Let go of holding in the tears. They are sacred waters, not signs of weakness. Let go of the identity built from survival. You don't have to live in armor anymore. Let go of the voice that whispers you're too late. You are timeless. Let go of the desire to be needed. You are worthy, even when you're not saving anyone. Let go of the belief that you must always be doing. You're allowed to just be. Let go of asking why it had to happen this way. Some truths are beyond the reach of words. Let go of your attachment to peace looking a certain way. Sometimes peace is messy. Sometimes it's loud, but it's still peace. Let go of pretending that certain chapters didn't hurt. You can honor what hurt without becoming it. Let go of thinking your softness makes you weak. The feather travels farther than the stone. Let go of rushing the healing. The seed doesn't bloom by being pulled. Let go of clinging to the identity of the strong one. You're allowed to break, and rebuild. Let go of explaining your transformation. Those meant to understand will feel it without words. Let go of the habit of carrying others when your own soul is weary. Let go of holding your breath. There's enough air for you too. Let go of shame for needing rest. The earth itself rests. Why wouldn't you? Let go of trying to be liked. Popularity isn't purpose. Let go of the idea that you must always be positive. Authenticity is more sacred than performance. Let go of trying to make the past make sense. Some puzzles weren't meant to be solved, just surrendered. Let go of wearing busyness like a badge. Your soul doesn't thrive on hustle, it thrives on presence. Let go of resisting endings. They are invitations for rebirth. Let go of overthinking. The mind can't do what the heart was designed for. Let go of regret. Who you were then was doing the best they could. Let go of blaming yourself for how others mishandled your heart. Their behavior was never your reflection. Let go of shrinking to fit someone else's comfort. You are not made for smallness. Let go of the need to fix what broke you. Sometimes, being broken led you closer to truth than being whole ever could. Let go, not to lose, but to find what was always deeper than attachment. Let go, because holding on doesn't make it last. It just makes it heavier. Let go, because your hands are ready for peace. Let go, because you are safe to release. Let go, and fall gently into the softest truth of all. You don't need to hold it all anymore. You never did. You've let go. Now breathe. Can you feel it? That soft echo where the weight used to be. That's stillness. And it's been waiting for you. Stillness isn't the absence of movement. It's the presence of something deeper than motion. Silence isn't empty. It's full of truths the noise tried to drown. You weren't meant to live in constant reaction. You were meant to dwell in response. Calm, steady, aware. The world teaches you to rush, but the soul teaches you to listen, to wait, to let things come instead of chasing. There is power in waiting without anxiety. There is wisdom in the pause. Stillness is not a void. It is a womb. Everything grows from it. The most important conversations you'll ever have will happen in silence, because silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of knowing. When you're still, you begin to hear what life has been whispering all along. Not in the chaos, not in the rush, but in the space between breaths. That's where the answers hide. Not because they're elusive, but because they're sacred. You don't have to chase clarity. You have to become quiet enough for it to find you. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing one thing, fully, reverently, as if it were the only thing. Drinking tea, lighting a candle, watching shadows move across a wall. These aren't small acts. They're sacred rituals when done with presence. You're not here to multitask your way to enlightenment. You're here to slow down enough to feel what's real. Stillness teaches you that you don't need to be loud to be powerful. The moon makes no noise, yet it moves oceans. Some of the strongest forces in existence say nothing at all. Stillness is a protest against a world addicted to speed. Stillness says, I refuse to run when walking with grace will do. Stillness invites you to stop proving and start being. The tree doesn't perform its beauty. It simply stands, rooted, and lets the wind admire it. In the quiet you discover what noise tried to cover your inner voice, the one that doesn't yell, the one that doesn't rush, the one that simply knows. It says, you are already okay. It says, there is no finish line. It says, you've always been enough. Stillness isn't something you find, it's what remains when you stop running from yourself. It's the soft cushion beneath all fear, the breath behind every breath. The mind wants movement. The soul longs for stillness. So let the mind slow. Let the thoughts drift. You don't need to follow every cloud that passes. Some thoughts come to test your balance. Others come to be seen, not solved. You are the sky, not the weather. Let your storms pass without losing yourself in the rain. The more still you become, the more you see. You start to notice the small things again. The way shadows stretch, the rhythm of your breath. The way your heartbeat feels when you're not trying to outrun it. You begin to feel time differently, not as a pressure but as a presence. You realize life was never in the doing. It was always in the being. You are not behind. You are just finally stopping long enough to hear what's always been here. Stillness doesn't need to be earned. it only needs to be allowed. So allow it. Let the stillness rise like warm water in a bath. Let it hold you, soften you, soothe you. Let it remind you that even when the world spins wildly, there is always a center. And that center lives within you. You don't have to say anything tonight. You don't have to explain your silence. Let the stillness speak for you. Let it be your prayer. There is a sacredness in doing nothing, not as escape, but as devotion. Stillness is how you remember what matters. In stillness, grief becomes a teacher, not a tormentor. In stillness, love becomes unconditional, not transactional. In stillness, you remember that your value has never been in your output. You do not need to earn your right to rest. The ancient ones rested. The sages and the mystics rested. The monks, the mothers, the prophets. They all knew the value of stillness. The ocean rests between waves. The inhale rests in the exhale. So you too can rest now. In stillness, the soul rearranges itself, not to become someone new, but to return to who you've always been. You are not lost, you are just learning how to listen again. And the more you listen, the more you hear. You hear the quiet truth of your enoughness. You hear the wisdom you thought only others carried. You hear the whisper that says, yes, this is home. So sink deeper. Let the stillness carry you now. Let the silence stretch like silk around your being. Let the thoughts soften. Let the muscles ungrip. Let the breath become slow and true. There is no next step. There is no task to complete. There is only now. And now is enough. Even without doing, you are worthy. Even without fixing, you are whole. Even without speaking, you are heard. And in the stillness, you finally remember. You don't need to become anything. You only need to be. Letting go is not giving up, it's giving in. To something wiser than fear. You've been taught to hold on, to clutch what hurts, to tighten around what's changing. But the tree doesn't mourn the fruit it releases, it lets it fall because it knows when the fruit is ripe, it drops. And when something is ready to go, no force in the world should make you hold it. Your peace does not live in what stays, it lives in your trust when things leave. You don't owe permanence to what is meant to pass. Some relationships are not meant to be lifelong. Some are meant to wake you up. Some are not endings, they're echoes. Echoes of who you used to be before you remembered how free you are. Letting go is not a lack of care. It's the deepest form of it. Because when you let go, you say, I love myself enough to stop holding what doesn't hold me back. The leaf doesn't resist the wind. It twirls. It dances. It lets go and becomes art. You're allowed to be like the leaf, to trust the wind, because not all falling is failing. Sometimes it's a flight in disguise. You're not collapsing. You're being carried. Letting go is returning to your natural state, open, fluid, free, like the river. It doesn't argue with the rocks, it flows around them. It doesn't hold on to yesterday's curves. It just continues forward, gracefully. There's wisdom in that. There's wisdom in not needing to hold everything together all the time. Control is exhausting. And the truth is, it never really worked. You were never meant to grip life like a rope. You were meant to move through it like breath. Letting go doesn't make you powerless. It puts you in alignment with real power. Because surrender is not about passivity. It's about presence. It says, I trust life enough to let it unfold. And it will. Maybe not on your timeline, but always on time. There is a divine rhythm beneath everything, and when you let go, you begin to hear it. Like a drum beneath the soil. Like a whisper through the leaves. You don't have to force what is real. You don't have to chase what belongs. What's meant for you is already finding you, but it needs your hands open to land. Let go of forcing doors to open. Sometimes the one you're banging on leads nowhere. Let go of waiting for people to become what you need. Sometimes the lesson is learning to become that for yourself. Let go of rewriting conversations in your mind. The past has already said what it came to say. Let go of overgiving. If you water others and forget yourself, eventually the well runs dry. Let go of being the version of you others expect, especially if that version no longer fits your truth. Let go of the guilt that arises when you choose yourself. You are not abandoning others. You are returning to your soul. Let go of needing every step to make sense. Even the stars are born in chaos. Let go of trying to get back to who you were. You're not going backward. You're unfolding into someone new. Let go of perfection in your healing. You will bloom and break and bloom again. Let go of needing everyone to like you. The most sacred trees never beg for admiration, they simply grow. Let go of needing to be understood to feel validated. Some will never speak your language, and that's okay. Let go of tracking who hurt you. Carrying that ledger only weighs down your wings. Let go of holding space for people who never showed up when it mattered. Let go of timelines. A flower doesn't bloom faster because you shout at it. Let go of how it was supposed to be. Reality is wiser than your plan. Let go of chasing closure. Some doors are meant to stay open to the wind. Let go of believing that grief is something to conquer. It's something to honor. Let go of convincing yourself that your intuition was wrong. It wasn't. You just didn't want to listen. Let go of apologizing for your evolution. Growth will always be misunderstood by those committed to your past. Let go of romanticizing what hurt you. Pain can become a familiar comfort, but it's not your home. Let go of believing that your softness makes you vulnerable. It makes you magnetic. Let go of trying to explain your boundaries. They are yours. They don't need permission to exist. Let go of holding your breath through change. Inhale the unknown. It might carry miracles. Let go of controlling your spiritual journey. Even the stars wander. Let go of needing to be useful, to be valuable. You are not a utility. You are a wonder. Let go of the belief that rest is unproductive. Rest is revolutionary. Let go of chasing purpose like it's a destination. Sometimes it finds you when you stop running. Let go of labeling every emotion. Some things are just meant to be felt, not fixed. Let go of needing the universe to give you a sign every step of the way. Sometimes faith is walking without one. Let go of waiting for the world to quiet down so you can hear yourself. Silence begins within. Let go of holding every piece of your story in your hands. Trust that life is holding it for you. Let go of trying to force the heart to heal. It knows how to close its wounds in sacred time. Let go of bargaining with the past. It has already blessed you in the ways it came to. Let go of judging yourself for forgetting. Remembering is not linear. It happens like rainfall, suddenly and all at once. Let go of questioning your worth when others fail to see it. Their blindness has nothing to do with your light. Let go of resenting the detours. Sometimes the sacred path looks like delay. Let go, and you'll begin to see, with each release, a little more space opens in you. Space for light. Space for peace. Space for you. You are not what you've held on to. You are what remains when it's all finally released. And that self, that breath, that presence, is eternal. You are not here to hold it all together. You are here to let it fall apart, so something truer can rise from the quiet. Let go of needing to have the last word. Silence can be more powerful than explanation. Let go of chasing after people who confuse your spirit. Love should feel like peace, not punishment. Let go of waiting for someone else to give you permission to move on. The door has been open all along. Let go of the need to understand why things fell apart. Some things crumble because you outgrow the soil they were planted in. Let go of being ashamed for trying to make it work. Your effort was never wasted. It taught you what not to carry forward. Let go of the person you were when you tolerated less than you deserved. That version of you was surviving. This one is ready to thrive. Let go of stories that no longer resonate. You are the author, not the character stuck in a single chapter. Let go of believing that endings are failures. They are invitations, thresholds, the beginning of a new unfolding. Let go of attachment to being right. Peace is often more important than proving a point. Let go of the pain that grew roots inside your chest. Pull them up gently. Replace them with breath, with light, with space. Let go of trying to make others feel comfortable with your boundaries. You are not required to make yourself small to be accepted. Let go of identities that made sense once but feel like armor now. You don't need to defend who you're becoming. Let go of the fantasy that someone else will save you. You are the sanctuary you've been searching for. Let go of the tendency to over-explain your worth. Your existence is enough of a declaration. Let go of the narrative that you have to always be strong. Real strength is knowing when to soften. Let go of the belief that you're broken. Even shattered glass reflects light. Let go of any voice that says you must delay your joy. You are allowed to feel peace right now, even if everything isn't perfect. Let go of what you think healing should look like. It doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like a soft morning after a long storm. Let go of needing your healing to be visible to others. You don't have to bleed in public to prove you're mending. Let go of the fear that if you surrender, everything will fall apart. What's real will remain. Let go of what you thought love should look like. Sometimes it comes in quieter forms, in presence, in consistency, in space. Let go of the illusion that control brings safety. Often it only brings tension. You don't need to manage every variable. You just need to trust your roots. Like the tree in wind, you don't resist, you bend. You don't break, you sway, and still, you remain. Let go of the finish line. There is no ultimate arrival, only deeper layers of becoming. Let go of waiting until everything is perfect before you feel peace. The moment you choose peace is perfect enough. Let go of waiting for closure from someone who has no access to your soul anymore. Your healing doesn't need their permission. Let go of apologizing for your boundaries. They are sacred fences that protect your blooming. Let go of the need to constantly explain your growth. Those meant to evolve with you will understand. The rest never mattered. Let go of what didn't work out. Life is redirecting you, not rejecting you. Let go of the belief that something is wrong with you because it ended. Not all chapters are meant to span the entire book. Let go of questioning your intuition just because it led you somewhere uncomfortable. Wisdom doesn't always feel easy at first. Let go of needing to be everything to everyone. You are not a solution. You are a soul. Let go of the story that says you're hard to love. You're just used to being around people who didn't know how. Let go of every version of yourself that survived what you now rest from. Thank them, then release them. You do not have to be who you were when you learned to cope. Let go of trying to be small so others can feel big. You are allowed to take up space. Let go of turning your volume down to keep the peace. Your truth is not noise, it's resonance. Let go of trying to be understood by those who never listened. Use your energy to hear your own heart instead. Let go of needing someone to choose you. The moment you chose yourself, everything changed. Let go of needing life to mirror back what you're becoming. Sometimes it takes time for the outside to catch up to the inside. Let go of striving. You are already within the flow. The river doesn't force the current, it becomes it. Let go of urgency. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time for your own becoming. Let go of the idea that your value must be proven. The sun doesn't audition to rise. Let go of expectations that leave you exhausted. You are allowed to have limits, to say no, to rest. Let go of chasing wholeness. You are not fragments to be assembled, you are already complete. Let go of the impulse to keep reaching. Sometimes arriving means simply being where your feet are. Let go, and let peace meet you halfway. You've been holding on long enough to know that it didn't bring the safety you were promised, long enough to feel the weight settle into your bones. And now, it's time to open your hands, to let the current carry you, to become like the tree that releases with grace, to become like the river that flows with trust, to become like the breath that never needs to be forced. This is the wisdom they didn't teach you. That letting go isn't weakness. It's sacred strength. Because when you let go, you become space, and space is where everything divine begins. Not everything can be healed by doing. Some wounds dissolve only in stillness. Stillness is not emptiness. It is everything finally allowed to settle. In a world obsessed with noise, your silence is rebellion, a quiet return to truth. Stillness holds what noise forgets. Presence, intuition, peace. There is something sacred about being still long enough to hear your own breath again. Not the breath you control, the breath that moves through you without effort, the breath that remembers your aliveness when you've forgotten. When was the last time you just were? No proving, no rushing, no fixing, just being. Like a stone warmed by the sun, like a moon resting in its fullness. Stillness is where clarity lives. It's why answers come when you're not chasing them, like a pond that clears only when the ripples settle. You've been taught that value lives in motion, in action, but what if the wisest part of you emerges only when you're still? You can't force awakening. You must get quiet enough for it to rise. Stillness doesn't need your effort, it needs your permission. Let your soul stretch out. Let your mind unclench. Let your energy soften. Stillness doesn't demand anything from you, it receives you as you are. It doesn't ask you to perform, it invites you to remember. Remember that you are more than your tasks, more than your to-do list, more than your roles. You are presence itself. And presence doesn't need to speak to be felt. The most profound energy enters quietly, like the moon. It doesn't chase the tides, it guides them, without a word, without a struggle. It just is. And that being is enough to shift oceans. You too can shift the world around you, not by striving but by simply becoming still. Stillness is not withdrawal, it's return. It's how you realign with your center after being pulled in 1,000 directions, like the sun after a storm, like breath after weeping. Stillness says, come back, sit, breathe, you are safe here. You don't have to be strong in stillness, you just have to be real. No mask, no armor, no defense. Just you, just awareness. Stillness doesn't need credentials, it welcomes you without your resume. Because your soul never needed accomplishments to be worthy. Stillness is a portal, a place beyond thought, beyond form, beyond fear. It's where your spirit remembers its shape. It's where you stop being what the world told you to be and start becoming what you truly are. The sages sat in silence for a reason, not because they had no words, but because they had no need for them. They knew the most potent truths cannot be spoken, only felt. You can learn more in 1 hour of stillness than in 1,000 hours of information. Because silence doesn't just soothe the mind, it reveals the self. It brings to the surface what was buried beneath the noise, not to overwhelm you, but to free you. Stillness reveals the parts of you that ache to be witnessed, not fixed, not changed, just seen. It's in that seeing that transformation begins. Stillness is where shame dissolves, not because it's erased, but because it is finally embraced. You are not your mistakes. You are not your busyness. You are not the speed at which you move. You are stillness in motion, and the stiller you become, the more life begins to move around you, gracefully, harmoniously, and in rhythm with your truth. Rest is not a reward. It is a requirement. You were not made to outrun yourself. You were made to sit beneath your own sky, and remember that you are a galaxy in disguise. There is no badge for exhaustion, no prize for burnout. What if your rest is the revolution? What if your stillness is a sacred refusal to be consumed by a world that forgot how to pause? Rest is not a retreat, it's a sacred re-entry. You are not falling behind by choosing stillness, you are moving ahead in a direction few dare to walk, the direction of inwardness, of softness, of truth. Stillness doesn't mean absence, it means essence. When the world strips away your noise, what remains is real. You, the original you, before the striving, before the story, before the shape-shifting, that you has been waiting. Not for perfection, but for presence. To sit with yourself without needing to do anything about it, to witness your own being and say, this is enough. That is the gift of stillness, not to change you, but to return you. Rest isn't what happens when everything is done, it's what must happen, so anything meaningful can begin. You've been conditioned to feel guilty for slowing down. But slowness is sacred. The caterpillar doesn't become the butterfly by hustling harder. It cocoons, it retreats, it dissolves. Stillness is where transformation happens unseen. You don't see the seed become a tree. You don't hear the sun rise, but it happens, steadily, silently, without performance, and so do you. You are growing in ways the world can't see. You are healing in places no one else will ever understand. And you don't have to show it to prove it's real. Stillness realigns you not just energetically but spiritually. It returns your compass to true north. In stillness you stop trying to be anywhere else. You stop chasing time. You stop comparing paths. You stop measuring your worth by productivity. Instead, you begin to feel the pulse of your own truth, the rhythm of your own breath, the quiet hum of a soul that's never been lost, only waiting to be heard again. In stillness, your nervous system exhales. Your body remembers it's not at war. Even your cells begin to listen, because stillness isn't passive, It's deeply intelligent. It tells your system, we are safe now, you can come home. And that home isn't a place. It's a frequency, a vibration of peace. Peace doesn't have to be earned. It only has to be felt. And to feel it, you must be still long enough to notice that it's already here. Rest isn't wasted time. It's how your soul recalibrates. Stillness is the soil of intuition. It's where knowing takes root. It's not the loud voice that demands attention. It's the soft presence that quietly insists this way. The more still you become, the more you notice what's essential. You begin to feel the subtle shifts in energy. You notice who drains you, what restores you, what aligns and what distracts. This is the gift of stillness. It reveals. Not to overwhelm, but to clarify. Not to confuse, but to guide. Silence becomes your oracle. And the moment you stop resisting it, you start receiving its wisdom. Not every problem needs a plan. Some things resolve the moment you sit with them in stillness, like ice melting in the warmth of your presence, like a child calming in the lap of someone who simply listens. Stillness is how the soul says, I hear you, I'm with you, you're not alone. In stillness, the need to fix softens into the willingness to feel. There's no rush. There's no deadline for healing. There's only the invitation to be here, in this breath, in this moment, in this pause. Stillness dissolves illusions. It separates what is real from what is reactive. You begin to see that not every emotion is truth. Not every thought is fact. Not every feeling needs a response. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them float by like clouds. You are the sky, vast, unchanging, eternal. And in the silence of that sky, clarity returns. You don't have to chase peace anymore. You are peace when you stop being at war with what is. Stillness teaches you the art of acceptance. Not as resignation, but as recognition. This is what's here, this is what's now, and it's enough. You begin to trust that the present moment is safe to rest in, even if it's messy, even if it's quiet, even if nothing is resolved yet. Stillness doesn't require a solution, it is the solution. And when you give yourself to it fully, something in you unknots. The clenched breath loosens. The weary heart softens. The restless mind finally lays down its sword. And what's left is you. Not the version performing, not the one explaining, not the one surviving, just the one who is. And that is more than enough. You are enough in the stillness. You are enough in the pause. You are enough, even when you do nothing at all. Especially then, because that's when the truth comes, that's when the guidance flows, that's when your soul whispers the answers your mind forgot how to ask. So rest here, not just with your body, but with your being. Let yourself be still, silent, whole. Because in this stillness, you are not just healing, you are remembering. When you become still, the world doesn't stop moving, but your relationship to it changes. You no longer rush to meet the noise. You let the noise pass like weather. You no longer panic in the pause. You begin to revere it. Stillness rewrites your rhythm. You stop marching to the tempo of should and begin flowing with the heartbeat of now. And in that now, everything is revealed. Stillness shows you what you've been avoiding. It's not to punish, but to liberate. Because when you're finally still enough to feel, you begin to heal. Stillness shows you where the ache lives, where the grief settled, where the breath caught itself in protection, but it also shows you something else. It shows you the space around the pain, the clarity inside the confusion, the softness beneath the armor. It shows you that you're not just the storm, you're the sky holding it all. And that is power. Not the kind you wield to dominate, but the kind you embody without trying. Stillness is presence without performance. And presence is power without pressure. In a world addicted to visibility, stillness is how you remember your unseen strength. You are not powerful because you're loud. You are not powerful because you're noticed. You are powerful because you know who you are in silence. That knowing can't be bought. It can't be taught. It's found in the quietest corners of your being. It's felt when you stop trying to be anything other than what you are. Stillness is the breath between stories. It's the moment when the page turns and you realize you are not the ink, but the space the ink lives in. Stillness doesn't care about achievement. It cares about alignment. It doesn't ask, "What have you done?" It asks, "Are you here? Are you breathing fully? Are you present, wholly? Are you allowing deeply?" Stillness is the return to allowing the moment to be what it is, allowing yourself to feel without rushing to fix, allowing the sacred to speak without shouting. And it always does. It speaks in your heartbeat, in the flicker of a candle, in the way your body softens when no one's watching. Stillness is not passive, it's receptive, and receptivity is where grace finds you. You can chase for years what stillness gives in a single moment: peace. Not surface peace, but soul peace. The kind that doesn't depend on conditions. The kind that remains even when life shakes. The kind that says, no matter what happens next, I'm okay here. Because here, in this stillness, you remember. You don't need to run anymore. You don't need to fill every silence. You don't need to earn your breath. You already belong. Even when the world forgets your worth, your stillness remembers. Stillness doesn't care what you produce. It cares that you are. It welcomes the version of you without makeup, without the armor, without the answers, just breath, just truth, just presence. You are the presence you've been searching for, not the outer role, not the image, not the mask, but the watcher, the listener, the being beneath it all. And when you come home to that presence, you stop needing so much. You stop chasing validation. You stop grasping at control. You stop performing worth, because presence is enough. Presence turns the mundane into sacred. A sip of tea becomes ceremony. A silent glance becomes communion. A moment of breath becomes revelation. This is the wisdom of the ancient ones, that nothing is too small to be holy, that life doesn't need to be dramatic to be divine, that the deepest transformations happen in stillness. No flashing lights, no applause, just you, sitting with you, still, silent, real. And in that stillness, you begin to glow, not with effort, but with essence, not to be seen, but to see. Because only when you are still can you finally see yourself clearly. And when you do, you no longer rush to be anywhere else, because here is enough. Now is holy. This stillness is home. There is a kind of reverence that lives in the smallest moments, not in cathedrals, not in temples, but in how you stir your tea, in how you fold your clothes, in how you pause to feel the breeze touch your face. Sacred presence is not a practice, it's a way of being. It's how you inhabit the moment, not as something to get through, but as something to bow to. Because when you stop rushing, you realize nothing is mundane. The ordinary becomes holy when you see it with awakened eyes. Even washing your hands can be an offering. Even silence at the dinner table can be prayer. Even lighting a candle in a dark room can feel like the universe kissing your soul goodnight. You were never meant to chase enlightenment in mountaintops and mantras. You were meant to find it in your breath, in your walk, in your gaze. You are not separate from the sacred. You are the sacred, remembering itself through each ordinary act. Presence doesn't need ceremony. It is the ceremony. When you are fully present, your life becomes an altar. Everything becomes infused with meaning, not because it's complicated, but because you're finally there for it. Drinking water becomes a blessing. Walking barefoot becomes grounding. Looking at the sky becomes communion. There's no need to search, no need to strive. Presence says you are already standing in what you seek, but you must slow down to see it. And seeing begins by stopping. Stopping the scroll, stopping the multitasking, stopping the unconscious rushing. To notice the way sunlight warms the corner of a window, the softness of a blanket on your skin, the way your breath enters then leaves, without effort, without noise. You don't need more. You need deeper. You don't need louder. You need truer. Because when you are truly present, even the simplest task becomes divine. Presence strips away the illusion that only dramatic moments are important. It reveals that every moment holds the universe, waiting for your attention. The divine is not hiding. It is humming in the fridge. It is pulsing in your fingertips. It is sitting beside you in silence, waiting for you to notice it. The sage is new. You don't need to escape the world to feel God. You just need to be here, fully. Inhale the breath, taste the tea, feel the ground. This is not a performance. It's a return to what is, to what's always been, to what never left. And when you live like this, something changes. Your heart slows, your eyes soften, your soul expands. You begin to treat people differently, not because you try harder, but because you see them now. You hear their silence, you feel their energy, you meet their pain with your presence instead of your advice. Presence is the most loving thing you can offer. Not solutions, not speeches, just you, fully here. Your being is the medicine. Your awareness is the balm. The world doesn't need more distractions, it needs more attention. Not the kind you give your phone. The kind you give to the way a child hands you a drawing, to the way your pet settles beside you, to the way your soul aches to be heard. Presence heals what hustle hides. It reveals that you don't need to chase your purpose. Your purpose is where your feet are, not in the next goal, not in the next version of yourself, but right here, in this breath. This is the sacred invitation. To walk through life like it's holy ground, to touch the moment like it's made of gold, to pause and see, to sip slowly, to speak gently, to look into someone's eyes and stay there. Because when you stop looking past the moment, you begin to feel the moment looking back at you. And in that gaze is God. Not out there, but here, in the steam from your cup, in the weight of your body resting, in the space between your words. This is presence. This is sacred. This is you finally remembering. You don't have to go anywhere to be whole. You just have to be here. There's something sacred in the way you make your tea. It's not just water and leaves. It's a ritual, a ceremony, a quiet honoring of presence. You boil the water not with urgency, but with care. You hold the cup not as a tool, but as an offering. This is how the divine speaks. Not in thunder, but in steam rising gently from porcelain. You don't need to chant a mantra. The clink of the spoon, the rising aroma, that is your mantra. You don't need a special space. This moment is the space, and when you're truly present with it, when you let it hold you, you realize this is prayer. Not the kind with words, the kind with awareness, because presence is prayer. It's the kind of prayer where nothing is asked, only noticed, only received. It's how you say thank you without saying anything at all. The tea doesn't have to be perfect. The room doesn't need to be silent. You just have to be there for it. Because it's not about the tea, it's about the presence you bring to the moment. And when you bring presence, everything becomes sacred. You feel the warmth travel down your throat. You feel the cup grounding your hands. You feel your thoughts begin to quiet, not because you told them to, but because you're finally here. Peace isn't something you find later. It's something you meet now. There is no peace in the someday. There is no calm in the almost. Peace is only ever found in presence. And presence is only ever found here. This breath, this sip, this silence. No future moment is more real than this one. No imagined success, no resolved conflict, no finished task is more sacred than now. Because this moment is not a stepping stone, it's not a waiting room, it is the destination. And when you fully arrive in it, the world stops rushing, your mind softens, your shoulders drop, your heart opens. You begin to see this is what you were always searching for. Not a thing, not an answer, but an experience of now. You don't need to escape to a mountain to find this peace. It's in your kitchen, in the rhythm of chopping vegetables, in the scent of clean laundry, in the warmth of sunlight through the window, in the warmth of sun entry and the shyness of the window. This is reverence. Not in what you do, but in how you do it. When you walk to your car with attention, you're meditating. When you fold your clothes with care, you're worshipping. When you speak to a stranger with presence, you're praying. Reverence is not about grandness, it's about depth. And the depth doesn't come from intensity, it comes from simplicity. From choosing to do fewer things with more love. From slowing down enough to feel the texture of the moment. Because when you do, everything shifts. The background becomes foreground, the overlooked becomes luminous, the simple becomes sacred. You don't have to change your life. Just change how you see your life. Change how you touch it, how you breathe with it, how you respond to it. That's the transformation. It's not about escaping reality, it's about deepening your intimacy with it. Let your life be simple. Let it be soft. Let it be slow enough that your soul can catch up. Let your rituals be small but sincere. Let your days be unremarkable but full. Let your peace come not from perfection but from presence. There is no better moment than this one, because it's not missing anything. It holds everything you need. Your breath, your awareness, your heartbeat reminding you you're here, and that is everything. So the next time you make tea, or brush your hair, or sit in silence, remember, you're not wasting time. You're not doing nothing. You're communing with life, with spirit, with the moment that's been waiting for your full attention, and when you give it, you realize the divine was never far. It was always right here, in the steam, in the stillness, in the sacred now. You were never meant to live in anticipation, always reaching, always rehearsing the next moment. You were meant to feel this one, to be inside it, fully, with your breath, with your bones, with your being. Because no imagined future will ever be more vivid than the life you are breathing right now. This is the miracle everyone talks about but forgets to notice. This inhale, this blink, this whisper of air on your cheek. You don't have to chase something bigger. Sometimes the grandest truths are the smallest ones, like the way your chest rises without thought, like the way a breeze moves a curtain, like the way silence settles over a room like a warm shawl. This is what sacred presence offers you. Not more to do, but more to be. Not more information, but more intimacy. You begin to feel the texture of time. You begin to see the holiness in routine. You begin to realize that life was never asking you to conquer it. It was inviting you to witness it. Presence turns you from a participant into a witness, and then from a witness into a mystic. Because when you are fully here, you begin to see that everything has its own kind of spirit. The way your pet greets you at the door, the smell of rain on pavement, the creak of old wood under your feet. These are not distractions from the spiritual path, they are the spiritual path. You don't need to transcend this world to find the sacred. You just need to slow down enough to notice it smiling at you through the eyes of a stranger. The sacred lives in simplicity, in doing one thing at a time, in eating without scrolling, in walking without rushing. Simplicity is not lack, it's clarity. It doesn't mean less life, it means more presence in life. It's not about removing beauty, it's about removing what blocks you from seeing the beauty that was already there. You were never meant to do 100 things in a day, you were meant to do a few things, fully, lovingly, deeply, and to let those things nourish your soul. Presence is how you turn repetition into rhythm. It's how you turn chores into devotion. It's how you turn this fleeting moment into eternity. You begin to speak more slowly. You begin to touch more gently. You begin to love more quietly but more completely. There's no longer a need to fill every space with noise. Silence becomes your companion. Pause becomes your prayer. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to perform your piece. You just live it. In how you make your bed, in how you greet the morning, in how you exhale when no one's watching. This is presence, a kind of living that feels like listening, a kind of walking that feels like floating, a kind of awareness that makes even the shadows feel warm. The moment becomes a friend instead of a task. Time slows, not because the clock changes, but because you do. And in that slowness, you find a new kind of wealth. Not the wealth of accumulation, but the wealth of attention. The wealth of knowing that nothing was missed, that your life wasn't a blur, that you didn't rush through your days waiting for later, that you lived them fully, intimately, softly. This is what sacred presence gives you, a chance to live not on the surface of your life but deep within it, to feel your own aliveness not as a concept but as a vibration moving through your fingertips, to meet each moment with open eyes and an open heart, to say, without words, I'm here, I see you, I honor this, no ritual required, no altar needed, just you, and this breath, and the sacred invitation it holds. Your life doesn't need to become louder, it needs to become more listened to. Sacred presence is not about dramatic transformation, it's about devotion to the moment that's already here. You don't have to search for a different path. You just have to walk this one more slowly, with open hands, with a soft gaze, with a willingness to see again for the first time. Because every moment is offering you something, a lesson, a pause, a pulse of divinity wrapped in the ordinary. When you rush, you miss it. When you judge, you distort it. When you're present, you receive it. The magic of presence isn't in what it gives you, it's in what it reveals was already there. The joy of a quiet room, the perfection of a messy laugh, the way time folds into itself when you're truly here. There is no need to seek the extraordinary. The extraordinary hides inside the very thing you overlook. Like the way your breath moves without your permission. Like the way your hand knows how to hold. Like the way your eyes close when you feel safe. This is the sacred rhythm of being. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not broken. You are just being asked to return, not to the past, not to who you were, but to what is, to this moment, this breath, this sacred now. Let it hold you. Let it slow you. Let it teach you how to be again, not how to become, not how to improve, but how to be. Completely, gently, reverently. Wash the dishes like you're holding the moon. Tie your shoes like you're blessing your path. Light a candle like you're awakening the sun inside your chest. Presence does not need permission, it just needs space. And when you give it that space, everything shifts. You speak less but say more. You move slower but feel deeper. You want less but receive more. Because presence teaches you to stop grasping. And in that open-handedness, life finally flows in. The beauty, the clarity, the peace. Not because you chased it, but because you stopped. And in the stopping you remembered, the moment was never missing. You just weren't here to see it, but now you are. And because of that, everything is different. So live this moment like it's the only one, because in many ways it is. Every now is unrepeatable. Every breath is a miracle. Every second is a sacred thread in the tapestry of your becoming. Be in it. Not with effort, but with ease. Not with perfection, but with presence. Because your life is not waiting for something else to begin. It's waiting for you to arrive. And now, you have. Welcome home. You were told you were free. But then they gave you a name, a path, a set of rules. You were told you could be anything, then handed a mold. You were told to speak your truth, but only if it didn't make others uncomfortable. And slowly, silently, you learned the shape of your cage. It didn't have bars, it had approval, performance, productivity. It looked like freedom on the outside, but inside, you could feel it. The quiet ache, the invisible pressure, the feeling that no matter how much you achieved, it was never quite enough. That isn't freedom. That's performance. Freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you want. It's the ability to do nothing and still feel whole, to rest without guilt, to speak without shrinking, to live without asking permission. But somewhere along the way they taught you that busyness was virtue, that filling your calendar meant filling your worth, that being available to everyone meant you mattered. So you ran, you performed, you produced, and they clapped, and you smiled. But deep down, something felt off, because the freedom they sold you came with strings. It was conditional, it was exhausting, it was hollow. Busyness is not freedom, it's often a distraction. A way to avoid the stillness that might show you how far you've drifted from yourself. You weren't born to prove yourself, you were born to be yourself. But it's hard to be, in a world that rewards performance over presence. So you wear the mask, you play the part, and inside your spirit waits. Waits for the day you'll stop running, the day you'll stop measuring your worth in output, the day you'll stop mistaking the noise for a life well lived. That day can be today. Because the path out is not external, the path out is inward. True freedom doesn't live in the outer world. It lives in the space between your thoughts, in the breath you take without effort, in the moment you stop needing to be on for everyone else. You don't have to change everything to be free, you just have to change how you relate to everything. Start by questioning the pace. Who told you you needed to move faster? Who benefits from your exhaustion? Ask yourself, is this freedom? Or is this expectation wearing a clever disguise? Let yourself feel how tired you are. Not just in your body, but in your soul. Tired from carrying identities that don't belong to you. Tired from proving your worth in rooms that never knew how to see you. Tired from being fine all the time. That tiredness is a sacred sign. It's your soul saying, there is another way, a softer way, a truer way, a freer way, but to find it you must let go of the noise. Not just the external noise, but the internal one, the voice that says keep going or you'll fall behind, the voice that says do more or you don't matter, the voice that says be everything for everyone or you'll be nothing at all. That voice isn't yours. It's inherited, programmed, conditioned, and you can release it through stillness, through presence, through what I call minimalism of the mind. Because freedom isn't always about owning less. It's about thinking less. Not in ignorance, in spaciousness. When you declutter your mind, you reclaim your life. You stop reacting, you start choosing. You stop performing, you start being. And that is when freedom returns. Not as a concept, but as a feeling. A grounded, quiet, undeniable truth. You were never trapped by life. You were trapped by your mind's interpretation of it. And now, you're ready to unlearn that version. You're ready to see that simplicity isn't lack, it's liberation. That saying no isn't selfish, it's sacred. That walking away isn't quitting, it's coming home. You're allowed to redefine freedom. Let it be slow. Let it be quiet. Let it be yours. Because when you no longer need the world's permission, you become free in the only way that ever mattered, from the inside out. You were never meant to carry all these names, the achiever, the pleaser, the responsible one, the strong one, the fixer. These roles are not your essence. They are masks you learned to wear to survive. But survival is not freedom. Freedom begins where pretending ends. And you don't owe anyone the version of you that keeps you imprisoned. You can let it fall. The act, the armor, the smile that hides the ache. You're not free when you're always performing. You are free when you can sit in silence and still feel whole. When you can say, I don't know, and not shrink. When you can be seen in your softness and not apologize. When you can show up as you, unfiltered, unpolished, unafraid. This is not rebellion. This is returning. Returning to the unconditioned self. The one who laughed without restraint. The one who spoke without second-guessing. The one who existed before the world told you who to be. That self never disappeared. It just got buried under the weight of becoming what you thought was expected. But now, you're waking up. You're starting to see that the ladder you've been climbing may be leaning against the wrong wall. That you've been reaching for freedom in the places that taught you to fear stillness. The job, the title, the lifestyle, the endless doing. But real freedom isn't found in acquiring more. It's found in needing less. Less validation, less noise, less internal warfare. Minimalism of the mind isn't about emptiness. It's about clarity. It's about decluttering the beliefs that no longer serve you. I must be productive to matter. I must be liked to feel safe. I must be strong to be lovable. Strip those away, and what's left? A presence so still it can feel the beat of the earth beneath it. A soul so unburdened it floats through time instead of fighting it. A you so real it no longer needs an explanation. You weren't born to earn your place in the world. You are the world experiencing itself through this sacred body. You are not a resume. You are not a performance. You are not a role. You are the awareness behind it all. And the moment you realize that, you exhale. You forgive yourself for the striving. You forgive yourself for the pretending. You forgive yourself for forgetting who you are. And in that forgiveness, the chains begin to dissolve. Freedom isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It arrives quietly, in the choice to stop explaining, in the decision to rest, in the whisper that says, you don't need to become more to be loved. You are not your pace. You are not your productivity. You are not your popularity. You are the presence behind the mask. And that presence is enough. So let go. Let go of being everything. Let go of pleasing everyone. Let go of living for a future that never arrives. And live here, in this breath, in this body, in this sacred, unscripted moment. That is freedom. It can't be bought. It can't be taught. It can only be remembered. And now you are remembered. Freedom doesn't always come with a breakthrough. Sometimes it comes with a breakdown, not of your spirit, but of the illusion that was never real to begin with. You begin to see how many of your choices were never truly yours, how many of your beliefs were passed down like furniture no one questioned, how many of your dreams were shaped by survival, not soul. And when that realization comes, it doesn't scream, it sighs, like a tired truth finally allowed to speak. You don't need to fix anything. You just need to feel it. The weight of pretending, the grief of forgetting, the beauty of beginning again, not as a better version of yourself, but as a truer one. There is nothing to prove here, no one to impress, no mask to wear. Because the moment you stop trying to be someone, you become everything, everything that is raw, everything that is real, everything that is rooted. You stop building identities, and you start inhabiting awareness. A silent kind of knowing, a gentle kind of power. Not the kind that conquers, but the kind that allows mess, allows softness, allows contradiction. Freedom is not the absence of boundaries, it's the presence of choice. The choice to listen instead of react, the choice to rest instead of rush, the choice to be invisible and still feel whole. You are allowed to disappear from the world's expectations, to unplug, to step back, to stop participating in the performance. Because disappearing from them is often how you reappear to you. There is nothing wrong with choosing peace over popularity, silence over spectacle, presence over performance. This is the rebellion no one talks about. The quiet revolution of not needing to explain your inner world to the outer one. You don't owe the world a version of yourself that aligns with its comfort. You only owe yourself honesty. And honesty says, I'm tired of chasing what was never mine. I'm ready to come home to myself. When you stop chasing, you start feeling, and when you start feeling, the false falls away, not because you fought it, but because you no longer needed it. The mask crumbles not from pressure, but from peace. That's the paradox of freedom. It doesn't demand, it dissolves. It's not something you achieve, it's something you allow. And in that allowance, you begin to notice. The birds never asked for permission to sing. The rivers never justified their direction. The trees never apologized for being still. You don't need to either. You are a part of that same divine intelligence, made of the same sky, rooted in the same breath. You were not born to be defined, you were born to be felt. So feel the moment, feel the breath, feel the unshackling, because when you feel it fully you realize something sacred. You are free. Not because the world told you, but because you remembered. Freedom is not something you find at the end of a long journey. It's something you remember in the stillness between steps. It doesn't come when the world finally approves. It comes when you no longer need it to. Freedom lives in your body, in the way your shoulders fall when no one's watching, in the way you exhale without fear, in the way you stop apologizing for existing. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It doesn't need a spotlight. Freedom is how you move when you stop pretending. It's how you choose when you stop performing. It's how you live when you stop needing to be anything more. You become simple again. You become soft again. You become spacious again. The mind quiets. The chest opens. The heart no longer clenches in anticipation. You say yes only when it feels clean. You say no without guilt. You make decisions not from fear, but from alignment. Freedom shows up in the small moments, choosing rest when the world says hustle, saying nothing when everyone else is shouting, walking away not to escape, but to protect your peace. This is your return to sovereignty. Not a crown, but a calm. Not a throne, but a truth. The truth that no one else gets to dictate your rhythm. No one else gets to define your worth. You are allowed to choose a life that makes sense to your soul, even if it confuses the world. You are allowed to slow down when others speed up, to take the quiet road when others chase the noise, to step away from roles that no longer fit. You are allowed to evolve, to change your mind, to let go of identities that once kept you safe but now keep you small. Because you're not here to impress, you're here to express your rhythm, your truth, your soul's unfiltered note in the song of existence. And that note doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be yours. This is what freedom feels like. Ease in your breath, clarity in your choices. No need to rush, prove, or explain. Just the gentle knowing, I'm here, I'm enough, I'm free. And that knowing, quiet, unshakable, and yours alone, is the foundation of everything that follows. So let it settle into your bones, let it echo in your chest, let it guide your steps from this moment forward. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are free. You are free. You are free. Pain was never the enemy. It was the invitation, the chisel that shaped you, the fire that revealed your gold, the echo that called you deeper into yourself. You've been taught to fear pain, to numb it, to outrun it. But what if pain wasn't here to destroy you? What if it was here to reveal you? Like a sculptor carving away the excess, pain strips you down to what's true. And what's left, after the noise and the rolls and the certainty fall away, is raw, real, radiant. You don't break because you're weak. You break because something deeper is asking to come through. Cracks are not flaws, they're openings, places where truth seeps in, where the light finds you, where the wound becomes the womb. Tears are not signs of defeat, they are sacred rivers, rushing through your soul, cleansing what no longer belongs, softening what became too hard. There is a kind of clarity that only pain can give, because pain makes you pause. And in that pause you see what matters, what doesn't, what was always true beneath the surface. Pain silences the superficial. It pulls your attention inward, away from the performance, away from the distractions, away from the noise, and back to the heartbeat you've been ignoring. It is not punishment, it is initiation. You are not being broken, you are being broken open, like a seed split by the earth, like clay pressed by the divine hand. What comes next will not be what you were, but something deeper, softer, truer. You don't heal by becoming who you were before. You heal by becoming who you really are, and pain is the threshold. It asks, will you turn away, or will you walk through? Will you numb again, or will you breathe through it, feel it fully, and let it transform you? You don't have to love the pain, but you can respect what it's here to do. To burn away illusion, to melt the mask, to bring you to your knees, not in weakness, but in surrender. And in that surrender a new strength is born. Not the strength of pushing through, the strength of being with your ache, being with your grief, being with your own broken heart, and holding it like something holy, because it is. Your pain is sacred. It means you've loved. It means you've risked. It means you've lived. And now, it means you're ready to rise, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. You were never meant to stay untouched. Life was never supposed to be a perfect shell. You came here to be weathered, to be carved, to be shaped by love, by loss, by everything in between. The ache you feel, that deep pull in your chest, that heaviness behind your eyes, is not a flaw. It's a signal, a sign that your heart is still open, that you haven't gone numb, that you're still here, fully, fiercely, tenderly. You may think you've been broken, but, beloved, you've only been breaking open. Pain does that. It cracks the illusion. It peels away the armor. It lays you bare so that life can finally touch you. Not the surface of you, the real you. The soul beneath the identity. The softness beneath the strength. And in that exposure, yes, it hurts. But that hurt is sacred. Because what's being revealed is not your weakness. It's your truth. Tears aren't failures. They are sacred rivers, rushing through the body, washing away everything that no longer belongs. Let them come, let them flow, let them speak what words cannot, because your tears know what your mind tries to forget, that grief is a teacher, that sadness is a map, that every ache carries a message meant only for you. Do not fear the wound. It is not here to punish you. It is here to initiate you, to walk you through a doorway that comfort never could. Suffering doesn't make you less spiritual. It makes you more human, more real, more rooted, more ready to meet life on its deepest terms. You are not here to transcend pain. You are here to transform through it, not by bypassing, but by breathing through it, by sitting in the fire until it burns away everything false, because beneath the pain is truth, and beneath the truth is freedom. You don't have to be okay to be whole. You don't have to be healed to be holy. You just have to stay, with yourself, with your breath, with whatever rises. This is not collapse, it's emergence. Not the end of you, but the beginning of the real you. So trust the crack, trust the ache, trust the unraveling. You are not being destroyed. You are being rewritten. By fire, by feeling, by the hand of the divine, sculpting you from the inside out. Let it happen, let it shape you, let it soften you, let it show you who you truly are. Beneath all the trying, beneath all the noise. Because who you are is more beautiful, more raw, more luminous than you've ever allowed yourself to see. There's a quiet moment after the tears, a moment when the storm passes and all that's left is breath. Shaky, honest, still, and in that breath something new appears. Not a solution, not an answer. A self. Not the one who tried to hold it all together, not the one who pretended not to feel, not the one who smiled through the fracture, but the one underneath it all, the one who remained, the one who witnessed the pain and chose to stay. That is who you truly are, not the version of you that never hurts, but the version that survives every hurting with deeper wisdom. You become like the earth after the fire, charred, but fertile. Pain becomes the ash, from which new life grows, and that new life, it's not built on denial, it's built on truth. Your truth. The truth that you are not fragile, you are formless, not breakable. Because pain doesn't just damage, it remakes. It cracks the shell of who you thought you had to be, so you can return to who you really are. Not harder, more whole, more awake, more connected to every other soul who's ever wept in the dark and wondered if morning would come, and it does. Not suddenly, but surely. The light returns not to erase what happened, but to reveal what it made possible. A new softness, a new silence, a new strength that comes not from the absence of pain but from your relationship with it. Because when you learn to sit with pain, you become unshakable. Not invincible, human, but deeply, unmistakably grounded in your own depth. You learn to stop fearing the dark. Because now, you know the dark. You know its voice, its rhythm, its sacred intention, and you know now the dark doesn't come to end you. It comes to midwife you, to hold you in the quiet, to prepare you for becoming, to remind you that your soul is not here to stay untouched. It is here to be kissed by fire and shaped into something holy. Your scars are not shame, they are scripture. They are proof of your return. They are the trail your soul took home. So wear them, not proudly, but truthfully, because they say what words can't, that you have felt, that you have lost, that you have risen anyway, and that is everything. You are not your pain, but you are what you've become through it, stronger, not in the way the world defines strength, not armored, not impenetrable, stronger because you let yourself feel, because you allowed the cracking, because you chose not to numb what asked to be seen. That is strength, to grieve and still grow, to break and still bloom, to ache and still awaken. Pain asked everything of you, and somehow you answered, not with perfection, not with ease, but with presence, and that presence changed you. You no longer live on the surface. You've touched the deep, you've sat in the silence. You've listened to the language that only the soul understands. And now, you carry a kind of wisdom no book could ever give you. It hums beneath your skin, it glows behind your eyes. It lives in the way you hold others. Softly, because now you know. You know what it means to be undone, to be remade, to walk through fire and come out not burnt, but bright. This is what beauty truly is, not flawless, but forged, not untouchable, but touchable in the most human way. There is a softness in you now that only pain could have taught, a tenderness that doesn't flinch anymore, a gaze that sees beyond the masks, a presence that doesn't try to fix, but simply stays. That is the medicine you now carry, not the kind you preach, the kind you are. Every scar on your soul has shaped that medicine, every wound has deepened it, every heartbreak has purified it. So if you're still healing, still aching, still in the midst of becoming, know this: you are not behind, you are not broken, you are not lost. You are becoming. Through pain, through presence, through this sacred alchemy of human life. And when you rise, because you will rise, you will not rise as who you were, you will rise as someone who remembers. Remembers the fire, remembers the cracking, remembers the silence that wasn't empty but full of grace. You will rise with a gentler heart, a quieter mind, and a soul that no longer needs to understand everything, because it trusts what it became. So, breathe now. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the earth hold you. Feel your presence soften the space around you. You've been through so much, and yet you are still here. That alone is holy. You are not what hurt you. You are what healed through it, and that is the beauty of pain. The world taught you that to be strong you had to be hard, that power meant control, that leadership meant volume, that survival meant closing your heart. But they never told you about the bamboo, how it bends with the wind and still survives the storm, how it doesn't resist, and that's why it endures. You don't have to harden to be strong. You don't have to raise your voice to be heard, because the deepest truths don't shout, they whisper. And yet, those whispers have the power to shift everything. It takes no strength to dominate, but to stay open in a world that wants you closed, that is sacred power. To remain kind when you have every reason to grow cold, to choose grace when you could retaliate, to be gentle with yourself when the world says you haven't done enough. That is acquired radical strength, because ego needs noise, but truth needs only presence. Softness is not absence of force, it is the right use of energy. It is restraint rooted in wisdom. It is peace that doesn't need to prove itself. The strongest souls do not carry swords, they carry stillness, they carry space. They carry a gaze that says, I see you, I don't need to change you to feel safe. That is love without possession, power without dominance, strength without aggression. Softness walks away not to flee, but because it knows it doesn't have to stay and win. It knows that winning is often just another word for wounding. Softness lets go. It trusts timing. It honors boundaries. It leads with compassion instead of control. This is not weakness. This is evolution. It takes courage to remain soft, to enter a room and not take it over, to hear a harsh word and not mirror it, to hold yourself like something sacred even when no one else does. Softness is the silent revolution. It is love that doesn't demand. It is truth that doesn't fight. It is presence that doesn't seek applause. And yet, its impact echoes far deeper than force ever could. Because people don't remember what made them submit. They remember what made them feel safe enough to open. You don't have to overpower to leave a mark. You just have to be present. Gently, consistently, authentically. Like the moon. Never loud, yet always pulling the tides. That's you. When you choose softness, you become the calm in the chaos, the silence between the words, the breath that steadies a shaking soul. And that changes everything. Love doesn't need to shout, it doesn't need to claim, or own, or win. Love, in its truest form, is silent, not because it's absent, but because it's everywhere. It doesn't seek attention, it gives attention. It doesn't overpower, it embraces. The loudest kind of love is the one that lets you breathe deeper, not the one that tightens your chest. It's the one that says, I see you, I trust you. You don't have to perform for me. That kind of love is soft, but it changes you. Because you begin to realize you don't need to fight to be held. You don't need to push to be understood. You don't need to be loud to be real. The strongest people are not the ones who take up the most space. They're the ones who create space for others. They are soft-spoken, but soul-anchored. They move quietly, but carry entire worlds in their presence. They don't demand your attention, they offer it. They don't need to be right, they want to understand. That's what softness gives you. Not the edge, but the depth. The capacity to meet life, not with resistance, but with openness. To say, I can be with this, not because it's easy, but because you no longer need to control it. That softness, it's the mother of surrender, the sister of grace, the quiet rhythm of the awakened heart. Softness doesn't try to heal you, it holds you. And in that holding, healing happens naturally. Because when you are finally seen without judgment, finally loved without condition, finally allowed to just be, something inside you relaxes, something unclenches, something begins to bloom, not out of fear, not out of performance, but out of truth. Softness is the soil for that truth. That's why it's so powerful, not because it controls, but because it allows, because it trusts that what is real does not need to be forced. That presence, without agenda, is the most honest offering you can give. And when you live that way, as softness instead of structure, as breath instead of blade, you don't have to chase impact. You become it, a quiet force, a living invitation, a presence that doesn't try to convince, but simply is. And that is more powerful than any performance could ever be. Softness is not the opposite of strength. It's what strength looks like when it has nothing left to prove. When you've seen enough to know that force may win a battle, but only softness can win a soul. You don't have to push. You don't have to explain. You don't have to raise your voice to carry truth. Your presence is the message. When your energy is clear, you don't need to defend. When your heart is open, you don't need to control. Softness allows life to flow around you and through you. It knows resistance isn't power, presence is. Just like water which wears down mountains not through aggression but through patience. Water doesn't fight stone, it remembers its nature, and it returns again and again until the hard gives way. You are that water. When you allow yourself to be soft, not collapse, not passive, but grounded and open, you become a quiet force that nothing can shake. You outlast. There is a sacred dignity in this way of being, a silent wisdom that says, I will not harden to match your chaos. I will not raise my volume to feel heard. I will not betray my peace to participate in your war. Softness doesn't need to win. It simply remains, like the tree that stays rooted in the storm, like the moon that still glows behind the clouds. Softness remains because it knows everything passes. Noise fades, drama dissolves, only essence stays. And when you live from your essence, you don't have to react. You simply respond, if response is even needed. Sometimes the greatest medicine is no reaction at all. Just breath. Just space. Just your presence, saying, this doesn't move me, because I know who I am. There is peace in that, and from that peace softness flows, the softness of someone who no longer needs to earn their worth, the softness of someone who no longer uses their pain to cut others, the softness of someone who has come home to themselves. That's a softness the world may not understand, but it desperately needs. Because behind every harsh word is a heart that forgot how to feel safe, and behind every sharp edge is someone longing to be met with gentleness. When you meet the world with softness, you give others permission to put their weapons down, to breathe, to unclench, to remember their own tenderness. And that is how the world changes, not through control, not through conquest, but through presence, and the courage to stay soft in a world that forgot how. Softness is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that you don't have to be louder to be heard, you just have to be true. And truth, real truth, has a vibration all its own. It doesn't demand, it doesn't posture, it doesn't try to convince, it just is. And when you stand in that energy, soft, steady, sovereign, the world feels it. Softness doesn't mean saying yes to everything, it means saying yes to what aligns, and saying no without needing to explain. It's the clarity that says, my peace matters, my body matters, my boundaries matter. It's the grace to walk away, and the presence to stay when it serves your heart. It's not passive, it's discerning, it's not weak, it's wide awake. Softness doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It means you won't use that pain to harden. You'll let it move through you, like wind through tall grass. You'll let it teach you, shape you, deepen you, but you will not let it close your heart, because you know now, your heart is your greatest power. Not when it's armored, but when it's open. That kind of softness is rare, because it takes everything to maintain. Not because it's fragile, but because the world keeps trying to make you forget it's even an option. It tells you to fight, to hustle, to keep your guard up. But softness says, put it down, breathe again, come back to yourself. You don't have to battle through life, you can listen through it, you can flow through it, you can love through it. And that love, quiet, steady, undemanding, is what shifts the world. One gentle choice at a time, one kind word, one moment of staying when it would have been easier to walk away. Softness doesn't change the world through noise, it changes it through presence, through the way you greet a stranger, through the way you hold a child, through the way you meet yourself in the mirror each morning, without judgment, without shame, without force. That is softness as revolution, the kind that doesn't need a microphone to echo, the kind that doesn't need a stage to matter, the kind that lives in every heartbeat, every breath, every quiet choice, to be love in a world that forgot how. And when you live this way, not to be seen, but because you remembered, you don't just soften the world, you heal it. And maybe that was your power all along. Everything changes. The truth used to frighten you, now it frees you. Because when you stop clinging, you start living. When you stop trying to freeze moments, you begin to feel them, no longer through the lens of fear, but through the clarity of presence. Nothing is final, not even endings. What felt like the death of something was simply the pause before its transformation. Like the seed that disappears underground, only to become the tree. Like the star that collapses, only to be reborn as light. You are not what you lost, you are not what changed. You are what remains aware through it all. You are the sky, not the weather. The clouds may shift, storms may roll through, but the sky stays infinite, unshaken, open. That is you. So let the clouds come, let the people come, let the emotions come, and let them go, not because you don't care, but because you finally trust. Trust that what's meant for you will stay. Trust that what leaves is clearing space. Trust that change is not the enemy, it's the current of your becoming. Impermanence is not here to torment you, it's here to remind you. You never needed to hold on so tightly, you don't need to grip love to keep it. You don't need to force meaning to feel alive. You don't need to cling to who you were, to honor who you've become. Even sorrow changes shape. What once burned now softens. What once stung now teaches. Pain becomes memory, grief becomes tenderness, loss becomes appreciation. And you become softer, clearer, more in tune with the rhythm of life, because now you see, all of this is passing. So why not love deeply? Why not live presently? The now is your only real home. Everything else is wind. And you were never meant to chase the wind. You were meant to breathe it, to dance with it, to let it pass through you without needing to hold. It is liberation. And it begins the moment you say, I no longer need this to stay, to be at peace. You are not meant to be the same person forever. That version of you, the one that fit a past season, served its purpose, loved what it could, carried what it must, and now it's okay to thank it and let it go. Letting go is not betrayal, it's evolution. Life doesn't hold still, and neither should you. The tree doesn't resist autumn. It doesn't mourn the leaves. It knows that in the falling there is making room, there is clearing space, there is quiet preparation for spring. You don't have to fear your own seasons. The version of you that used to need control softens. The version that needed answers surrenders. The version that couldn't rest learns how to be still, and slowly, quietly, you begin to trust the shift, because you realize every emotion, every chapter, every person was always meant to be temporary, not because they didn't matter, but because their purpose was never permanence, it was presence. Their role was to open something, teach something, break something loose, so that the next thing could come through. You don't have to hold it all. In fact, you can't, because the tighter you grip, the more you suffer. Peace lives in the release, in the breath that says, this is here now, and that is enough. The clouds don't cling to the sky, they pass. They shift, they disappear, and the sky remains. You are that sky. What moves through you, grief, joy, longing, laughter, is just weather. Necessary, sacred, but not you. The deeper truth is this: you are not what you feel, you are the one feeling it. You are not what changes, you are the witness to change, and in that witness you are free. You no longer need to chase permanence, you no longer need to freeze frame your life. You simply become available to what is at this moment. This breath, this heartbeat, nothing more, and nothing less. And slowly you realize that's all you ever needed. You've spent so much of your life trying to hold on, to love, to identity, to meaning, to people who were never meant to stay. And maybe that's why it hurts so much. Not because they left, but because you didn't know yet how to let go. But now you do. You're learning the art of open hands, of wide hearts, of soft eyes that can witness beauty without needing to own it. Nothing you love is truly yours, and that is not sad, that is sacred, because love is not about possession, it's about presence. It's about standing in front of something or someone and saying, I don't need to keep you, I only want to see you, right now, as you are, and then, when it's time, to bow, to bless, to release, because you trust what's real will never need to be forced, and what needs to pass must. Even sorrow, when honored, becomes light. Even endings, when accepted, become new beginnings. You stop fearing loss because you stop seeing it as failure. You start seeing it as flow, as the very rhythm of life. Breath comes, breath goes. Moments rise, moments dissolve. And you are no longer holding your breath. You are breathing now, fully, softly, consciously. You are living not as someone trying to preserve life, but as someone participating in it. With eyes open, with palms unclenched, with a heart that says, come and go, I am here for it all. Because that's what truth in transience gives you. Freedom, to be without needing to become, to love without needing to keep, to experience without needing to explain. It frees you from the illusion that you are your past, or your pain, or your plans. You are something much vaster. You are the space life moves through, the sacred pause between what was and what's next, the witness, the field, the silence beneath the sound. And that silence is eternal. Everything else will pass, but that stays, and that is you. Inside you is a sacred furnace, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that refines. Fear enters it, and if you don't resist, it becomes wisdom. Anger enters it, and if you breathe, it becomes clarity. Grief enters it, and if you allow, it becomes compassion. This is alchemy, not magic, awareness. It doesn't mean changing what you feel, it means being so present with it that the feeling transforms on its own. You don't need to fix yourself, you need to witness yourself. To be there, fully, honestly, with what's alive inside of you, without judgment, without rush, without story. Just presence. And presence is the heat. It's the fire that burns off distortion, the attention that melts defense, the love that turns suffering into signal. You are not what you feel. You are the space that holds the feeling, and in that space, everything can shift, not because you force it, because you allow it. Watch what happens when you don't react. When you feel fear, but don't follow it. When you feel rage, but don't lash out. When you feel sadness, but don't collapse. You become something else, more centered, more lucid, more sovereign. And from that place you can choose, not from defense, not from panic, from truth. That's how the fire becomes gold. Not by denying the heat, but by stepping into it with open eyes. You are the one who sees, and the one who transforms. You are the cauldron and the contents, the storm and the silence. And the moment you stop fighting your feelings, they become fuel, not to burn you down, but to light your way. Everything changes when you watch. Not when you fight, not when you numb, not when you try to fix. Just watch. When fear rises, can you sit with it? Can you feel its trembling without running from it? Can you ask it softly, what do you need me to see? Because fear isn't the enemy, it's a signal, it's your nervous system whispering, there's something here that matters, but if you react without listening, you miss the message. The same is true for anger. Anger isn't wrong. It's sacred heat. It's your boundary saying, "This is not in alignment with me," but if you let it speak before you understand it, it burns what it was meant to protect. So you become the alchemist. You take the raw heat of anger and breathe it through stillness until it becomes clarity. Not reaction, revelation. This is your work, your power, your freedom to feel without fusing, to hold without collapsing, to burn without destruction. Because you are not just the one who feels, you are the one who sees the feeling. And that space, the gap between stimulus and reaction, is the holy ground where transformation begins. Everything you've judged about yourself, the overthinking, the emotion, the restlessness, it all shifts when met with loving awareness. Not analysis, not rejection, just presence. The same way sunlight opens a flower, not with pressure, but with warmth. Your attention softens your suffering. When you watch yourself kindly, something miraculous happens. The chaos settles. The noise quiets. The patterns dissolve, not because you forced them, because you gave them space. All emotion is energy, and all energy wants to do is move. It gets stuck when you resist it. It gets distorted when you fear it. But when you allow it, it flows. It becomes a current. It becomes wisdom. And you become free. Not because the feeling left, but because it no longer controls you. You are still here, steady, breathing, unshaken, and in that stillness what once felt unbearable becomes sacred. Not because it was pleasant, but because it led you deeper into yourself. You are not broken because you feel deeply, you are becoming guide, because you feel fully, and in that fullness you find your freedom. The alchemist does not fear the flame, they know it's the only way gold is born. And you've walked through fire, you've sat in your own discomfort not to punish yourself but to understand yourself. You didn't silence the fear, you listened. You didn't deny the anger, you honored it. You didn't avoid the sorrow, you let it speak. And in doing that, you did what most never dare to do. You stayed, you breathed, you held space for what felt like too much, and discovered it was never more than you could carry. Because you're not here to bypass your pain, you're here to bless it, to study it, to refine it into wisdom. Every emotion you've ever had has carried a seed of truth, of insight, of release. You are the one who chooses what to do with that seed. Ignore it, and it becomes a weight. Deny it, and it becomes a pattern. But sit with it, and it becomes a pathway, a trail inward, a mirror for your growth, a vessel of your own returning. You don't need to fear what you feel, you need only to feel it all the way through. And then something softens. The fear that once gripped you becomes a guide. The anger that once overwhelmed you becomes a compass. The ache that once broke you becomes a doorway. You begin to understand. You are not the emotion, you are the alchemy. The one who turns pain into power, not through escape, but through presence. That's where your liberation lives. Not in having perfect peace, but in knowing what to do with the chaos. Not in never feeling again, but in feeling with clarity, with breath, with a heart that no longer flinches. You are the fire and the gold, the heat and the healing, the witness and the wave. And this life, this sacred spinning life, is not here to flatten you, it is here to forge you. So rise now with your whole heart open. The work is not to feel less, it's to love yourself more while you feel it all. You keep searching for something, a feeling, a moment, a sign that says, now you're worthy. Now you can rest. Now you've finally become enough. But what if you already are? What if the whole journey wasn't to find yourself, but to remember what was true all along? You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to upgrade your soul. You don't need more time, more titles, or more validation. You need less noise, less inner commentary, less comparison, less running from yourself in the name of growth. Because being enough isn't something you achieve, it's something you allow. It's already here. Right beneath the layers of self-judgment, right beneath the endless striving, it's quiet, but constant, a steady hum in your being that says, I am whole, even here, even now. This is your true wealth, not the things you accumulate, not the goals you conquer, not the image you protect, but the peace of mind that says, I no longer need more to feel complete. Because the more you were chasing was never outside of you. It was presence, it was permission, it was stillness. Enoughness is a spiritual revolution. Because a content soul can't be sold to, a present heart can't be manipulated, and a being at peace within themselves becomes unshakable in a world addicted to proving. You've been taught to earn love, to earn rest, to earn worth, but the truth is, you were born with it, and nothing you do can erase it. You don't need to become more. You need to unbecome everything you were never meant to carry. The doubt, the pressure, the false belief that your soul has to audition to be accepted. You don't have to chase light. You are the light. You don't have to wait for a breakthrough. You are the opening. You are not missing, you are remembering. And as you remember, the striving softens, the proving falls away, the breath deepens, and you realize you are finally home, not because everything outside changed, but because you did. You remembered what they tried to make you forget, that you are already enough. The moment you stop trying to become, you begin to be, and being is where freedom lives. You don't have to perform your worth. You don't have to prove your right to exist. You don't have to fill every silence with effort. The deeper your peace, the louder the world may seem. But that noise isn't your truth. It's just a test to see if you'll forget again, forget that you're already enough, that even if you did nothing more, accomplish nothing else, change no further, you would still be worthy of love, rest, and joy. They told you that self-love comes after improvement. But the truth is, improvement comes after self-love. Real growth doesn't come from force. It grows from acceptance. Because what you accept begins to relax. And what relaxes begins to reveal. You become clear. Not because you fixed everything, but because you finally stopped fighting yourself. That is abundance. Not more, just less lack. Less telling yourself you're not ready. Less convincing yourself you're behind. Less clinging to a version of success that was never yours to begin with. Enoughness is not a reward. It is your origin point. Before the shame, before the comparisons, before the conditioning, you are whole. And that part of you, the part untouched by doubt, is still here, waiting, patient, unmoved. It doesn't need achievement to feel worthy. It doesn't need a spotlight to feel seen. It just needs you to return, to be still, to listen. And in that listening, you'll hear the truth again. The truth that says, you are not becoming enough. You are remembering you already are. And every time you breathe with that knowing, you rise a little freer, not because you added anything, but because you let go. You let go of the illusion that you ever had to be anything more than exactly who you are now. And that is where your real power begins. Peace doesn't come when you finish everything. It comes when you stop believing you have to. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to reach a certain version of yourself to finally be allowed to exhale. You can exhale now, because the real wealth, the kind no one can take from you, is a quiet mind and a steady heart. That's the miracle, that's the abundance, that's the treasure buried beneath all your trying. You were never meant to live life proving yourself. You were meant to live life being yourself, to know that your presence is enough, your softness is enough, your stillness is enough, your truth, unpolished, raw, real, is enough. And every time the world tries to sell you the opposite, you remember, you pause, you breathe, and you return to the ground of your being, that sacred place that whispers, you've always belonged. You don't have to compete for love. You don't have to upgrade your soul. You don't have to wait for perfect clarity to trust your path. You are not broken. You are blooming, even now, even here, even in your doubt. And that is enough. Not because you've achieved peace, but because you've allowed it. Because somewhere inside you've decided, I will not wait to love myself. I will not postpone my joy until I am better. I will not outsource my value to anything external. You've chosen to be whole now. And in that choosing, you've stepped into the rarest kind of wealth. The kind that doesn't flash, but radiates. The kind that doesn't compete, but rests. The kind that doesn't scream, "Look at me," but hums gently, "I'm already home." And that is what it means to be enough. You are not a project. You are not here to be solved or optimized or endlessly improved. You are a presence. A breath in motion, a soul in stillness. You are not your productivity. You are not your timeline. You are not your healing pace. You are the awareness underneath it all. And that awareness doesn't need fixing. It needs witnessing. Like the river, it doesn't rush to the sea to prove itself. It doesn't push its way forward. It flows. In curves, not straight lines. With pauses, with pools, with stillness. You are that river. You don't need to get somewhere to be whole. You just need to keep flowing. Every part of you, the sorrow, the strength, the softness, the ache, belongs. There's no final version you need to reach. There's only deeper presence, more honest breath, more room to just be. Even rest, which you've been told is escape, is actually return to yourself, to your body, to the vast quiet field of your being. You are not lazy for needing rest. You are wise for honoring it. Because sleep is not weakness. It is sacred. It is when the self dissolves into the source, when all that's been carried can finally be set down, the weight, the identity, the trying. You are the space, not just what's in it. You are the sky, not the passing weather. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and in that spaciousness you are whole. Even in silence, especially there. So as this day fades, as your body slows, let yourself return. Not to effort, not to seeking, to you, to the ancient truth that was always there, before the noise, before the striving, before the forgetting. The truth that says, you are already home, you are already enough, and now you can rest, not to escape the world, but to remember who you've always been. Let everything go now, not because it was too much, but because it was never yours to carry forever. Let the effort dissolve. Let the questions rest. Let the voice that says you should be doing more grow quiet and fade into silence. You don't have to chase enlightenment. You don't have to perform peace. You just have to lay down. You've wandered through storms. You've stretched through sorrow. You've transformed more than you realize. And now you can stop reaching, because presence isn't on the other side of striving. It's what holds you when you stop. So breathe. Gently, as if each inhale is a soft return to center, as if each exhale is a letting go of who you thought you had to be. There is nothing missing, not in you, not in this moment. This stillness, this breath, is complete. You don't have to think your way into rest. You only have to remember how to be held by the dark, by the silence, by something greater that has always known your name. You are not drifting away, you are coming closer. To the soft hum of your soul, to the place beyond words, to the rhythm of your truest self. Even sleep is sacred. It's where the mind dissolves into mystery, where the heart returns to source, where the soul drinks from the deep waters of restoration. You are not falling asleep tonight. You are falling inward, back into the warmth that has never left you, back into the vastness that asks nothing of you, except that you stop running. You are not here to be fixed. You are here to be felt, to be loved, to be seen, to be held, not by the world, by you. So as your eyes close, let everything else close too. The doubt, the comparison, the rush, the noise, let it all dim, let it all fall away. And if you wake in the night, with thoughts that swirl or ache, return to this. You are not your thoughts. You are the silence beneath them. You are not your past. You are the presence, holding it gently. You are not separate. You are sacred. You are home, and you always have been. So rest now, not to escape the world, but to remember who you've always been.